Right, section C, Excel apps. Okay, I've started recording. So Excel apps, we're going to be working with the apps dash stats. So we're going to open that and fail. Open that. So I'm just going to move it across to the correct screen, and then we're going to work with. Firstly, we need to be on the correct sheet. So I'm going to start with sheet 1 and then work our way across. Just make sure, obviously there's 3 different sheets and we need to work with them. A silly mistake that I've seen people make is that they've been trying to answer questions on the wrong sheet. So rename sheets 1 to apps. So right click, rename apps. Sheet 2 to feedback, and sheet 3 to summary. Okay, done. Now the next question asks, in the apps sheet, set the first row to wrap text. So you highlight the whole row by clicking on the row at the left hand side. There is a option here somewhere, I think, for wrap text. I never use that. I always just go Control 1. Control 1 opens up my properties, alignment, wrap text. Okay, there is an option up here. I think that's it over there by the looks of it. Wrap text, you can go through that way there, or whichever way you want. Okay, create a double border around the outside of A1 to G12 and a single border inside. So A1 to G12. Okay, so it's that dotted over there. We want a double border around the outside and a single inside. So because it's more difficult to do it through here, just go more borders, or again Control 1 is a shortcut. So we want a double border around the outside and want a single border on the inside. Click OK, done. Okay, I'm just going to make it sure that the CC cleaner and whatnot can fit and the data can fit in. That wasn't stipulated, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, format cells A1 to G1 to have a yellow fill and bold, blah blah. A1 to G1. Okay, so yellow fill. I want it to be bold and a font size of 16. Oh, fail. Oh, yeah. Whoa. Okay, perhaps that was a bit too big. But yeah, you would get full marks, even though obviously I didn't go through this properly before I gave it. But I will for your actual final exam. Okay, now format B2 to B7 with the number formatting to include gigabyte after the values. So it's asking me to format. B2 to B7. So it's a starter here to have gigabyte afterwards. So Control 1 or right click format cells, just to show you the other way around, because I know some people prefer this. Format cells, so right click format cells. Now we're going to change the number. Now it's none of these, there's no gigabyte here, so we need to stipulate it under here, and we are going to create our own values. So what we're going to do is we are going to have a number, a numerical, so a hash can represent it, or 0. I'm actually not too sure what the difference between those two are. And then afterwards we're going to put in inverted commas to say that this is going to have to be there. GB, close inverted commas. I did put inverted commas before the space. You can't go 0 space inverted commas. It must be 0 inverted commas the data. And then you'll see after each of the data, a GB would be placed there. If you guys notice, if I also added a hash there, I think it also does work. I think it would have to, I'm not exactly sure what the difference of that. Google it if you really want to know. Anyway, you guys can check there that now it's got a gigabyte as a background, but the actual values are still numerical values, but it does display with a GB short for gigabytes. Anyway, question 6 now states, in the cells B9 to C12, calculate the total average min and max of the installation file size and the number of downloads. Okay, so we basically want to do total here. You guys can work that out as ever you want. I'm a keyboard person, so I just prefer typing it in. You guys would know how to do your easiest way. We can just drag that across, so actually I'll do it at the end, I'm too lazy to do it now. Equals average. Personally, I prefer keyboards, and I do find it goes a lot quicker with keyboards, but you guys can choose your way. Fail. I always work with go to where you want the answer to be and then do the calculation for there. The reason why that will work for if statements, VLOOKUPs, for any a calculation you wish to do, it will work. So go to where you want the answer for, then select the range that you want to work from while you're in the calculation. I know some people prefer highlighting the data and then getting the answer from there, but I don't know how to do that. Alright, Question 7. In cells D2 to D7, calculate the total tariffs in gigabytes and gigs downloads from the app has created. Okay. Calculate the traffic in gigs download from the app has created. 1024 in gigabytes, so the total downloads in gigabytes is equal to download installation file size. Error in question paper. Sorry, that part did get by, but basically this actually should have been, and I apologize for this, megabytes. Please don't worry, the actual exam will go through a lot more scrutiny. And then now we are wanting to work it out in gigabytes. Sorry, in format painter. Okay. Okay, so basically now these are in megabytes. We want to work it out in traffic in gigabytes. My mistake there. I apologize about that. That question wouldn't make sense with the dividing by 1024. So in this case, it will work out downloads, but we'd have to work out from there. So basically, to work out megabytes download, we'll take that and multiply it by a number of downloads, which would be in total that many megabytes. But we want this answer in gigabytes. So what we would do is we would take that total contributing answer and we would divide it by 1024. So we have taken the installation file size, so we'd have to download that, and it's been downloaded 8,500 times. So in total it would contribute that times that traffic, but now we want to work it out in gigs, so we would divide it by 1024. We can get rid of those decimal places. It wasn't stipulated though. So 11,108 gigabytes, 40 gigabytes, 304 gigabytes, etc. Okay. If there is a question error in the question paper, which hopefully there shouldn't be, because it would have gone through much more testing, and this memo would have been created prior to the exam going out, we would mark it accordingly. So if you answered it, we would be very leniently in the marking. Okay. Again, these we can just drag further along, so we'll also work out the totals there. Number of feedback. Now we need the number of feedbacks. Now this question asks us question 8. It says in cells E2 to E7, calculate the number of feedbacks given in the feedback sheet for each app. So we take a look here. We go to number of feedbacks. Okay. Sorry, let me just pause for a second. I want to edit my video that I'm teaching the teachers for that. Give me a second. Okay, anyway, I have asked the teachers to amend this so that it will be megabytes, not gigabytes in the exam. Anyway, traffic now, it's number of feedbacks. Now, if you take a look at the feedback sheet, there is tons of different feedbacks on each application. So now the question asks in, let me get the question number for you. It is question number 8. In the cells E2 to E7, calculate the number of feedbacks given in the feedback sheet for each app. So in other words, if we take a look here in the apps, we want to calculate the number of people who've given feedback for AVG, the number of people for CC Cleaner, etc. Now, we want to count the number of AVG. So therefore, it is a count if. We only want to count it if it is that. So for a count if, a lot of people like going to the FX here. I'll do it the way that I know a lot of pupils like. We would search for the count if, and we would open up the count if. And the first thing is the range. And the range that we are looking at is we want to look at this whole entire app row. Now, if you're dealing with a lot of data, it's difficult to run down and highlight all of them. It will take time. It's easier just to click on the column, and then that whole column will be taken into consideration. This will also, allow more data to be added at a later stage. And the criteria. Now, if you typed in the criteria, you'd have to do each individually, which would be annoying. It's much better just to click on the criteria as being AVG, and you'll see the answer is 34 different feedbacks for AVG. Click OK, and when we drag down, it'll automatically take into consideration Winamps had 185, VLC 186, etc., etc., etc. So it automatically takes the new data into consideration. Now, the next question states that question number 9. Is that correct? Calculate the average ratings given in the feedback sheet. Okay, so now this is obviously a average if. So we're going to go fx because we want to have the average rating if. So average if. You could also do this with a combination of SUMIF and COUNTIF, or just that there. So you could do SUMIF divided by a number of feedbacks. That would also work. But this would be just a more direct way. Again, our range that we are looking at is that, because even though we are not averaging this range, but this is the range that determines whether we want to take into consideration that value. And the criteria is the app name, and the average range, where we actually want to get the average from, is the ratings, which is on the right hand column over here. Okay, so where we're looking for the values, what we're looking for, where we're taking the average. Okay, and then you'll see that it's got a lot of decimal places. You can decrease the number of decimal places, or you could just leave it. It didn't stipulate on what we wanted there, and that'll give the average rating. By the looks of it, all of them are approximately in the 4 range on there. The data isn't real, it's just generated me by using actually a random function, and then I got rid of it. But anyway, okay. Next question 10. This is a slightly challenging chart for 5 marks. I've got to remember how to do it. Firstly, we've got to select the data. So recreate the charts below on a new sheet utilizing the number of downloads and installation file size. So basically what we're looking for is we will want to take in the headings. Okay, we will want to take the file size and the number of downloads. Okay, so basically we're looking for this data over here. Okay, insert charts. We're just going to start with the normal column chart and put it in there. Now, as you can see, at the moment it doesn't look anything like what I wanted to. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to move it to a new sheet, because that's what it stipulated. It didn't stipulate what it should be called, so I'm just going to leave it as chart 1. Now, the installation file size is tiny in comparison to the number of downloads is tiny in comparison to the file size, so you can't actually even see them. No, so which way around is it? Number of downloads is massive in compared to file size. So it's actually got 2 different sets of data that we're working with. So what we actually want to do is we want to add another axis. And if I remember correctly how to do that, right click format axes. Now we want to also set a second axis value. Okay, I'm just going to pause this while I figure out how to do it. I did do this not too long ago. It's easy enough, but I can't remember. Okay, let me pause. I'll show you how to do it now. Okay, to explain how to do this, first of all I'm really looking at doing is adding a secondary axis here. So on the right hand side, in Office 2007 it's actually slightly different to Office 2013. I figured out now that actually what we need to do is change chart type and go down to combo. So now in the combo chart type we can actually create them as 2 different ones, and if we take a look at the data in or as it looks there, the number of downloads, which this here is not line, that is the columnar, and the actual installation file types is a line. So we can actually make both of them separate. We also want to add a secondary axis, so we want the installation file size on a separate axis. Oh, I've got a phone call. Sorry, just give me 2 seconds, please. Hello, give me 2 seconds, please. I'll be there now. Pause. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, what was I doing? Ah, yes. Okay, so this is now more what we want. Just to finalize. Okay, so now it will have 2 different charts. So the blue line would be represented here, and the red would be represented there. So now the data is actually more readable with having 2 different axes, I suppose. Not, well, same axes, just 2 different valuing options. Okay, let's go back to the questions. That was for 5 marks, question 10. Okay, question 11, sheet feedback. Okay, let's save what we're doing. Remember, save regularly during your exam, because you will not be given any additional time if the power fails. Okay, question 11. Apply conditional formatting to column A, so that VLC would be blah 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 yakety smackety. So column A, you highlight clicking on the A button to highlight all of it. Conditional formatting, new rule. And the rule we want is we want to apply cell values that contain a value that is equal to, and in the first case it is VLC. So VLC should be formatted to have a full of orange background. That's orangish, maybe a bit colorblind, but yeah, okay. And then now we want to add an additional rule. So again, we've got to go conditional formatting. If we can either go new rule and we'll add additional one, or we can manage rule and then we can work from here, new rule. And now we want Winamp to have a black background with orange writing. So cell value that contains a value that is equal to Winamp to have a black background with orange writing. Okay. And the next one is Firefox to have blue background with orange writing. So Firefox, a new rule, values that contain a value that is equal to, what is this again? A Firefox to have a blue background with orange writing. Okay, so orange writing, a blue background. Is that right? Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, cool. So you'll see that it will format all of the data that it needs to be the correct as it is there. Alright, now it asks sort all data by app. Let's just make sure I'm actually recording this. Yes, it is recording. That's good. Sort all data by app, then by recommended to other, and then by rating. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, sorry, I have a visitor. Just give me a second. Okay, so I'm now sorting by first by app, then by recommended to others, and then by rating and descending. So we highlight all our data, including the headings. We then go to sort and filter. We go custom sort. Okay, so first of all, my data does contain headings, so we make sure that it's ticked so that the first row is taken as counting headings. And it first asked us to sort by app, so we go app, and it does say ascending, so A to Z is correct. Add level, it doesn't specify. If it doesn't specify, it's assumed to be ascending. Then by recommended, okay, and then by where is it there? Then by rating descending. So now our last one, rating largest to smallest descending. Okay, we click OK, and then it would set the data out accordingly. So all the apps will be together, and then it'll be by if it's recommended or not, and then it'll be if it's the rating. Okay, next question, question 13, asks you to create a pivot table. Now again, with all data sets, it's suggested that you select all the data. So any manipulation of data, select all the data. It makes sense, but often what people will do is only select the rows that they're working with. Rather just select all of it, and then from there you can fill it out from there. Oh, I don't want this here. Oh yeah, so I select all my data. I then move to data. I then want to create a pivot table. Ooh, where do I do this now? In 2013. Let's look around. Maybe insert pivot table. Look at that. Oh yeah, so it's not in data, it's in pivot table. Well, insert. Named range, I've already highlighted it, so it's correct as a new worksheet. I'm good with that. Okay. Now, the question says, with app being the row headings, so app as row headings, okay, and then recommended as cell headings, column headings, that should also be changed in there, and ratings as the data. Okay, so ratings as the data. Count of ratings, I don't want count. I wonder if we can change what it is. Value for field settings, maybe average would be fine. Did it specify? So rating the data, okay, it didn't specify, just as long as ratings was the data, so the average would actually make more sense. To show you, you would go to values field listing. You can then change what you want done with them, sum, average, max, min, whatnot. Defaultly it was actually count, so the number of people who said yes, the number of people who said no, which is fine. Count would actually also make sense. So 20 people said no, 20 people, 14 said yes of each of them, so it doesn't really matter. and who gave a rating. Okay, it wasn't specified that, so that's fine. Okay, now the summary sheet. That's the last sheet, so let's move across. Okay, so summary sheet. Now, this questions were a little bit more challenging. Firstly, it asked for most downloaded and second most downloaded. The first one is equal to max. That's quite easy enough. The next one is equal to large. So most downloaded equal to max, open brackets, max number. If we go to our, we want max number of downloaded. So if we go to our apps sheet, if we take a look at number of downloads, is that column over here, C, so we would want this data over here, so we would find the max. So the most number of downloaded is 12,000. Now second most downloaded would equal to large. I would have like a top. Yeah, so the range again, so array is also just the range. The range is again number of downloads over here, and now is the actual value. We want to find the second highest. We could also find the third highest, etc. with the large function. C2 to C7, comma 2. What's going on here? Array, comma, Office 2013 doesn't like commas, it likes semicolons to separate. That confused the daylight out of me when I first got that. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to find the application, so the name of the application which has got the most downloads. This you should be able to read into. If you take a look at it, it says there we want to find the name and the value. To find a name, if we take a look at the apps here, we find the value, we then need to find the name of it. And you'll check it is actually located on the right hand side. So we would locate it here, we would then return a value to the right hand side. And that is what a VLOOKUP does. A VLOOKUP will find something, and vertically it will find something, vertical lookup, and then it can return a value on the right hand side in one of the other columns. So when we go through this again, if I go to the where I want this answer to be, I would press FX, or you would type equals, would go VLOOKUP. The bell's gone. Okay, and the lookup value is we are looking up this value from where? So we've typed the value we're looking at. From where are we looking it up? We are looking it up in the apps sheet. We start highlighting from the row we expect, or the column we expect to find the data. We then go across until the row that we want to be returned. So if we take a look at this data, this is column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5. So now with regards to column index number, we wanted the fifth column to be returned. We want this to be exact, so it will be false. This is not an approximate. We click OK. So then VLC would be the most, CC cleaner is the second most. Okay, so it literally found we would, however, this is incorrect. We needed to anchor this, so we press F4 because we didn't want that cell range to change. So the range that we're looking at, we do not want to change, so we would need to anchor it. So the shortcut key for absolute cell referencing is F4. Okay, if you ask your teacher if you need more help with regards to VLOOKUPs, that's how you would do that. Alright, now it asks whether promote. This is simply a yes, no, it's an if statement, so equals if, open brackets. Now, here we are determining if the AVG download is greater, so if the apps, the number of downloads is less than 10,000, then we want a yes, we want to promote, so this would be in inverted commas, yes, we want to promote, else no. Okay, so with if statements, it's always if, condition, true, false. Damn you, semicolons. I've got people coming in now. I must quickly finish this. This will be the end of the Excel questions, so I'm going to quickly get this done. Okay, so now I drag that down. Yes, no, yes, yes, no. Yep, one more. Okay, so that is that question answered, and that's the Excel section. Hope this has helped you. Goodbye.